Buying a house is the most mentally challenging thing you'll ever want to do. Hey everyone, I'm Pham, your local real estate expert in the Seattle area. And today, I'm talking directly to first-time home buyers. See, most first-time home buyers don't regret the house they bought. They regret rushing the process, they looked too early, they trusted the wrong advice, and they bought with emotion. And they didn't really understand the contract. So today, I'm walking you through the exact roadmap I use with my buyers so that you don't make those same mistakes. So step one, it's slow everything down. I do this job because I genuinely like helping people figure out where they belong, and buying a home isn't just a transaction, it's a life decision. And I really believe the first step isn't solo. So before you hit the schedule tour button with a random agent, I advise you to sit down with a local professional and talk through it. Because at some point, something happens in your life that makes you want to say, hey, maybe it's time to buy. There's always a trigger, whether rent is going up, the family changes, and you wanting stability, but that decision has to be internal. It needs a strong why. Ask yourself, why do I want to buy? And am I ready for a long-term commitment? Is this the right time in my life? And what kind of home and lifestyle do I want? Am I ready for the responsibility of the homeowner? That's why your why has to be solid. Reflect on it, because when things get emotional or stressful, that's the reason that you want to come back to. That is your anchor. So a good agent doesn't open doors. We sit down and map your lifestyle. We talk about what your family needs, the type of home, bed, baths, the lot size, your commute time, the school district, and how good the neighborhood feels. And if you have any future plans, we go over it, like how long you are planning to live there, where your family grows. Could this be a rental someday? So we're building out a search around your lifestyle, not just the listing. And you can absolutely research on your own too as well. I use tools like niche.com to look up the best neighborhoods and school ratings. Then I cross-reference it with city data to understand the crime stats and the real facts about the city. But being local really matters because a local agent understands the personality of an area and it can match to how you actually want to live. An agent can suggest touring different neighborhoods before you make a decision. We could drive through areas, check traffic, noise levels, where are the parks, grocery stores, just the whole vibe of the neighborhood. And that's the hands-on experience that is better than just online photos. And for first-time home buyers, don't assume that the agent at the open house is automatically acting in your favor. If they are the listing agent, their legal duty is to protect the seller and get the best outcome for the seller. That is their job. They're not bad people, but they are not there to represent you. That's why having your own buyer agent matters. You deserve someone who is dedicated to protecting your interests and advising you fully. Most sellers already include buyer agent compensation in their contract because they want buyers to come. So as a buyer, you still have options and control. The key is choosing someone you trust and having chemistry with. Buying your first home isn't about speed, it's about alignment. When the foundation is right, the rest of the process becomes smoother and a lot less scary. Step two, it's building your emergency fund. Before we even talk about houses, you need to have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved. This is separate from your home savings. It's completely separate. I don't want you to buy a home and end up with $0 in the bank. You never want to be house rich and cash poor. Once that emergency fund is solid, then we start planning the purchase, which is the down payment options. And it looks like if you were planning to put 20% down, that would be a conventional route with no PMI. 3 to 10% down is with the PMI. And an FHA loan is 3.5% down for lower credit score. And on top of your down payment, you also need closing costs. Usually it's 2 to 3% of the home price. And that's why the next step is talking to a lender early. And I can recommend lenders that can help you compare the rates so you don't have to figure it out alone. And credit tiers really matters. So if you have a 600 credit score, that would be in the FHA range. 620 to 670, it's lower conventional. 670 to 740, it's mid-tier. And 740 and up is the best conventional rate. So a lender can help you plan and improve your credit before you even shop. Now that's the big reason why you want a pre-approval first, so you're shopping in the right price range. I see buyers fall in love with homes outside their approval range all the time. Then they find out later that they can't qualify, and that is just frustrating. And the other risk is a great deals hit the market and you're not pre-approved and someone else is, you might miss the opportunity on that home because real estate moves fast. So it's better to do the legwork upfront to protect your opportunity later. Talking to a lender is free, Talking to an agent is free. You're not obligated to work with them. In fact, I encourage buyers to interview lenders and agents. Ask about their experience. Ask how many deals they close. Ask about their process. You want a team that can actually perform when it matters. And I always recommend a strong local lender, someone your agent trusts, because big banks don't operate on real estate time. They don't work on nights or weekends. So every time you write an offer at a new price, you need an updated pre-approval letter. A good lender can turn that around quickly and even call the listing agent to straighten your offer. The pre-approval process can feel annoying, but it is worth it. They will verify income, debt, employment history, and if you're self-employed, that might take a little bit longer, but if you're a W-2 worker, then it's usually straightforward. They're looking at your debt to income ratio, so under 43%, it's what is required. Under 35%, you look healthier, and under 28%, you're financially strong. They also want a stable work history, usually 2 years in the same field, and they can go over some different loan programs. With the VA loan, it's 0 down. USDA is also 0 down, and FHA requires 3.5% down. Now let's talk about earnest money, because this confuses a lot of people. Earnest money is a good faith deposit you submit after your offer is accepted. Think of it as showing the seller that you're interested and that you're serious. In my market, it's usually 1 to 3% of the purchase price. That money go into the escrow account and sit there during the transaction. It's not extra money. It gets credit towards your down payment or closing costs. Example, if you need the total cash to close is $30,000 and you deposited $5,000 earnest money, you can bring only $25,000 more at closing, not the whole 30 grand. Your money isn't lost, it's just held up early, and you're always protected by contingency. During your inspection period, you can back out and recover that earnest money. That is why inspection matters. A home inspection usually runs $500 to $650, and it protects you from buying a disaster. Final warning while under contract, do not open up new credit cards, do not finance furnitures, or buy a new car. Lenders recheck your finance before closing if your debt has changed. Your loan can get denied during this time. Step 2, would just be building that safety net, securing financing early, and do the prep work upfront, and the house hunt becomes a smooth process instead of a very stressful one. Step 3 is setting your timeline. This is where the process stops feeling random and start feeling intentional. Before we look at homes, I want you to answer one question. When do you want the keys in your hand? Not someday, not whenever, an actual month, because everything works backwards from that date. Are you coordinating with a lease ending, a job relocation, or a life event? So once we know the target move-in date, we reverse engineer the process. So understanding the timeline, it's really important because closing after going under contract takes 30 to 45 days, and then finding the right home can take 1 to 3 months depending on the inventory, how competitive it is, if it meets your criteria, and depending how the market is as well, and your decision that you are comfortable with moving forward. So if you want to be in a home by July, you should be under contract by late May or early June, which means seriously house hunting starts March or April. This planning prevents panic buying. You and your agent should map this out together early on during the search. A rush buyer makes emotional decision, and a planned buyer makes strong ones. Step 4 is going out shopping. Buyer thinks showing starts when you walk into the house. No, the work starts before you step inside. A strong agent call the listing agent and gather information like how many showings has it been so far, are there any offers expected or on the table, days on market, why the seller is selling, what's important to the seller, either timeline, price, and how fast the home is moving, because this is strategic information that you should know before you walk into the home. While touring the home, your agent and lender should be running numbers with you, like a real breakdown on the estimated monthly payments, what are the taxes, insurance, closing costs, how much cash to close, and your out-of-pocket comfortability. The goal is not can you qualify, the goal is does the payment support your lifestyle? Because at the end of the day, this purchase has to work for your savings, for your freedom, your retirement, and your stress level. Like, can you sleep with this heavy payment? And do you have any reserve just in case if something happens? So don't get too excited. Let's take a look at the map first. Once we know the numbers, we can build together on a custom search. But a good agent, just don't wait for the home to come on the MLS. We can actively search for you for any off-market homes, for sale by owners opportunity, any new construction. We might know upcoming listing. We can take a look at expired listing. We can door knock around the neighborhood, or or calling neighbors to see, who could possibly be selling. The goal is to expose you to the most opportunity, not just passively browsing. Early in the search, we can cast a wide net to learn about your tastes, what you might think, and then we can adjust it later on. I would suggest viewing homes smartly, with every tour, see just 4 to 6 home max at a time, just because you have time to compare and don't have that fatigue of seeing too many homes. And after every showing, score it out of 10. If it's a 6 or 7, what can we adjust, and get some feedback that really matters through your home search. And then you can always tell your agent, what you don't like, what you like about the home, what felt right, what didn't. And that way we can adjust the search to your criteria. Step 5 is after the showing, we can submit an educated offer. So if you're interested in the home, I can call the listing agent again, and we can ask again how strong the interest is, are there offers coming, and what is the most important thing for the seller? Is it the closing date? If they need to rent back, are they expecting with price? So the information can shape how we write the offer. And if you are entering a bidding war, we have to stay logical. We look at numbers, we know the ceiling that you are willing to pay, so that you don't just buy on emotion. So don't ever let an agent pressure you on something that's beyond your comfort zone. A good agent protects you from your emotionally spending, and that if the house really support your lifestyle. Tip number 2 is do not lowball. Negotiation is a strategy, not an ego. So if a home is listed for 1.2, market value is 115, you don't just offer 900K. The seller may refuse to engage with you entirely, and you have lost leverage. Strong offers are grounded in data, so we negotiate based on the market price. So with an agent, before we go over the offer, we would take a look at recent comparables. What are the market trends within 30 to 90 days on market, seller motivation, inventory level. So getting the price is just not a number or a guess. You would want a smart offer that protect your money and that would appeal to the seller. That way you can balance it out and you can win. After your offer is accepted, this is where things happen. And this is where buyers gets nervous, but contract is there to protect you and not trap you. So let's walk through each phase so that you clearly understand. So after your offer accepted, usually have 2 to 3 days to wire your earnest money. And here are some contingency to protect you and your earnest money. So there is the inspection contingency, financing contingency, appraisal. So that way you're not blindly risking your earnest money. The only time where earnest money is lost is if you don't have contingency in place and decided to walk away for no apparent reason. So everything in your contract has to be intentional. So the first one would be the inspection contingency. This is your investigation period. Inspection is not about perfection, it's about risk management. A licensed inspector evaluates the roof, foundation, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, structure, if there's any water intrusions, and safety issues. No home is perfect, even the new construction. So this is why I recommend an inspection. So after the inspection, you can either accept, renegotiate, or cancel if it doesn't fit your need. We can't ignore the cosmetic issues, but we do have to focus on the expensive issues and the future costs. The second contingency would be your financing contingency. It protects you if you can't get the loan. This clause says, if a lender cannot fund loans outside of the buyer's control, the buyer is protected. Example where loans can get denied is that once they verified all the document and it's not accurate, your debt to income ratio changes, your job changes, and if for some reason you can't get the loan, at least you can back out. You do also have the appraisal contingency, where the banks verify the value of the home. They typically send out an independent appraiser. So there is 3 outcomes. The appraisal appraised the property at value, then we can move forward. If it appraised high, then you have instant equity. And if it appraised low, we can renegotiate. So there's options. If it appraised low, the seller can lower the price. We can split the difference, or buyer add in cash. Or you could safely terminate so you don't get trapped. So after that, there would be the escrow period, where things are a little bit more quiet and the lender is working behind the scene to approving your loan. The title verifies everything. This is where you can go shop for insurance, and then documents are being prepared, and then funds are being coordinated. It's like a machine moving in the background. So typically no news is usually good news. So your job during the escrow period is that you don't open up new debt, don't change your job, and don't move large money without asking. So you want to stay financially boring until closing, and that will protect the deal. So a couple of days before closing, you do have the final walkthrough. It's when you walk through the home again. It's not another inspection. It's just to confirm if the repairs are completed, the condition is not changed, all the fixtures are present, and that the appliance appliances remains. And if something is wrong, we can pause the closing and ask the seller to fix it. Then you do have the closing day. This is where escrow and title company ask you to go into their office to sign, or you could do it virtual. This is where funds are being transferred, ownership is being recorded, and the keys are being transferred, and after that, it's a happy time. You can finally call this place home. So a big reminder is that the goal is not to just buy a home. The goal is to buy a home at the right price and payment that fits your lifestyle so that you don't feel pressured into purchasing a home. If the numbers don't feel right, we can walk. If the home doesn't feel right, we can wait because there's always another property that is out there. There is no price for rushing it and into purchasing a wrong home that can cost you thousands in the future. So yeah, if you find this helpful, please subscribe. So if you want, I do have my buyer guide below, my relocation guide. You can download them and it will walk you step by step through the process. And if you're not in Washington, I can connect you with a trusted agent in your area. So that way you are being protected and well taken care of. And if you want to help to map out your timeline, running the numbers, or building a smart plan, feel free to reach out. This is Pham Homes signing out. Peace.